skylight opens from the roof deck, that's, without question, it's blood! Firstly, when the incident occurred, the skylight of the omnibus was open. And secondly, the victim was already bleeding when he fell through the opening. The officers involved went over the carriage with a fine-tooth comb. No such smear of blood existed on the carriage. At least, not until this trial began. How could anyone possibly have put a smear of blood in it without the world and his wife seeing? In terms of having the opportunity to carry out the alleged tampering, there is one possibility. I'm sure everyone still remembers clearly. The recess that we were forced to make. I feel compelled to admit that there's at least a possibility that the evidence is fake. At this moment in time, I cannot, in all good conscience, attest fully to the defendant's innocence. I hereby pronounce the defendant, Mr. Magnus McGilded. And there we go, we won, I guess. Woohoo! Well, Lord Van Zykes, it's been a pleasure, sure it has. And as for you, my dear fella, I couldn't have asked for a better defense. They're going to examine the omnibus again, so I'm told. I asked if I could be present for it myself.
What's going on?
Uh-oh. Ooh, the courthouse is on fire. Come on, open it.
There's someone in there.
What is up, everybody? I am the story-driven gamer, and we are jumping back into the Great Ace Attorney adventures. Ooh boy, it's been a minute, and I am very excited to jump back in because we are starting a new case number 4. And man, I was actually going to record yesterday, but we had a storm that's actually kind of still going on. But like last night, I wanted to record, but we were supposed to have like a big tropical storm / hurricane. And you know, so I didn't want there to be thunder and lightning that, you know, was heard in the audio. But more importantly than that, I didn't want to have like some kind of like power outage during the video. That would suck. So I decided to wait a day, but I am itching to get back in and see what this new case has in store. So very quickly, in the last episode, we just resumed the trial. Oh, I guess this is the last 2 episodes since I did it in one recording. We resumed the trial after that smoke bomb incident. We found out that that was started by Gina Lestrade, which was like this kind of Cockney girl, or at least that was the kind of accent I was going for. That's what she sounded like. She had that kind of accent. Yeah, and she was the third party that was in the carriage, hiding in the luggage compartment. And Magnus McGilded was trying to help her escape because she had nothing to do with it. And as it turned out, she didn't have anything to do with it. It looks like our true culprit was McGilded all along, man. He was our guy, but he tried to pin it on Fairbanks and what was it? And First by altering the crime scene during, you know, that smoke bomb incident. And so he made it look like they did it, like they killed him from atop of the carriage and dropped the victim in, but it was really McGilded. At least that's what we deduced. And yeah, so we won. We got our defendant off the hook, but at what cost? At what cost? It was a fun case though. And I kind of hope the next case is a more traditional investigation, you know, and then a trial. I think it will be. I know I've said that before, but I feel like it will be in this case because you know, we've gone so long without that, and now we are I guess we're officially lawyers, or at least we passed the test, or at least training to be a lawyer, which means we'll be involved in more like trials and stuff. So I think we're probably going back to a kind of, you know, a regular investigation, you know, and trial type of thing. We actually had the investigation during the trial, technically. And it was funny because I had said in the last case, you know, case 2, chapter 2, whatever you want to call it, that like, man, this investigation is kind of claustrophobic. It's 2 rooms and a hallway. I hope it gets I hope it expands a bit more in the next chapter. And no, it actually, the crime scene got smaller. Or the investigation area got smaller. It was literally just the carriage. But no, it was fine. It was fun. I don't think the series has ever done anything like that. You know, having us investigate the crime scene during a trial. So that was kind of cool. Like I said, it was kind of a big piece of evidence, basically, that you could really explore in depth. But I dug it. It was really cool. It was a good case. And already, our first official defendant, it seems like, was actually the victim. Oh, and one last thing. I forgot to mention how it ended, which was a big cliffhanger. It seems like the events are just getting started, because McGill did actually, they were gonna inspect the carriage one more time, and McGill did ask if he could go in, and they let him. And then yeah, it turns out the carriage caught on fire, and somebody was inside. I suspect either McGill started the fire, and somebody else is in there, or maybe McGill himself is in there, because we didn't see him. So yeah, I don't know what that's about, but hopefully, I don't know if this next chapter will be a direct continuation, you know, or if it will take a break and we'll get back to those events sometime, maybe in the 5th case. Because I think, I'd say we're probably about halfway. I think 4 and especially 5, you know, chapter 4 and chapter 5, will probably be pretty meaty. Like, usually the 5th case, the last case of any of these Phoenix Wright games or Ace Attorney games are pretty bulky, and 4 might be bulkier, especially if it goes with the, you know, like I said, the investigation and trial back and forth. Then it'll definitely be longer than any of the previous chapters. Yeah, and we might be playing as Sholmes, at least for part of this. Maybe the investigation as Sholmes. I'm judging that based off of his silhouette in the background here. That might mean nothing. Maybe it's been swapping the whole time and I just never realized it. We shall see. Let's go. The Adventure of the Clouded Kokoro. Oh, I always get so excited for a new case. Episode 4. The Adventure of the Clouded Kokoro.
I begin to think, Wilson, said Sholmes, turning his head languidly in my direction, that there is more to this case than that which we have observed. Indeed, that there may be another part to this story that we are yet to discover. His eyes wandered, following the steam rising from his cup of herbal tea, leading him to the distant memory of that snowy evening.
Ooh, who is that?
To
Who
the
that
young
be?
lady collapsed on the pavement along Briar Road, and to the knife in her back. Lit in the soft glow of gas lamps, a most extraordinary scene had been set. And under the cover of a light fog, the curtain had risen silently on the insoluble mystery of our invisible killer.
Okay, cool. I always love these little setups, these little intros. Oh, we're back. We're back here. 19th of February, 9:47 a.m. British Supreme Court, Lord Chief Justice's office. So yeah, I was dead wrong about Mail being involved, but I still think he could be involved in one of these other cases. Or maybe the grand scheme of things. I don't know. I don't know what it is about him. He just kind of he reminds me of, as we've seen in other Ace Attorney games, that kind of corrupt figure. He kind of just looks, I don't want to keep saying he looks evil, but, you know, intimidating, I guess is the word I'm looking for. Did you sleep last night, Mr. Naruhodo? No, not at all. It was an enormous hotel, wasn't it? I called room service and everything. It was nice. The rooms were so luxurious. Luxurious? Yeah, luxurious. Yeah, whatever. I felt that we were staying in a palace. And with all the gas lights twinkling, it was brighter than day, even in the middle of the night. What about the enormous beds? After my time on the SS Buria, I wasn't going to waste a single inch of that space. Ha! Spread eagle, baby. I spent the entire night rolling from one side to the mattress to the other. Covered every last inch. Oh yes, it really was the sort of night you can only dream of normally. I felt like a princess. Yeah, except when I learned that we owed £3 for the rooms, that dream quickly turned into a nightmare. Aww. Oops. Sorry about that. My B. The building was so impressive and the entrance was so inviting, I just wandered in without thinking. Nice one, Naruhodo. In a lodging house in Japan, that sum of money would put a roof over your head for a whole year. I did try, but I'm afraid I couldn't help my tears when we were presented with the bill. Aww. Ugh. I really am sorry. Probably should have checked that out beforehand. Just, you know, pricing and all that. Well, never mind. We must find some more affordable lodging straight away, though. If we're not careful, our entire stipend will be used up in 10 days or less. London is a scary place. Okay, I'm assuming this is male. Oh, good morning to you at this early hour. It is I. Oh, yes, well, Good morning to you, Lord Chief Justice. I'm sorry for suspecting you earlier. We have come to report on the outcome of the trial at the Old Bailey yesterday. Susato sounds amazing. She doesn't bat an eyelid, even in the presence of the imposing Lord Strongheart. Yep, she's a real professional, unlike us who is the newbie. Yes, I believe you had a very comprehensive initiation into British courtroom practices. Oh, yes. It was very eye-opening, thank you. And, in accordance with your instructions, Lord Strongheart, Mr. Naruhodo performed his duty to the end. Yes, I've already been apprised of events. You conducted a remarkable defense. You may consider the test passed. Oh! Woohoo! No longer are you a student from the Empire of Japan. You may henceforth claim to be a fully fledged lawyer. My country is delighted to welcome young talent from such a remote eastern land. Thank you very much. So I'm a lawyer now, finally. 3 cases in. Now, in view of your new appointment, I have a fresh case in mind for you. I'd like you to take it on at once. I trust that won't be a problem. Another case? Already? What is this, the day after the last one? Nothing trains a lawyer better than practical experience. I'm sure I don't sense dissatisfaction, do I? No. I'm all for it. It's just that yesterday's trial ended unusually. I haven't quite come to terms with it. What's to come to terms with? The man was cleared. Thanks to you. What more were you hoping for? That's a good question. Culpability of the defendant has not at the present time been established by this court. Consequently, the jury will not be required to proffer judgment. Well, Lord Van Zykes, it has been a pleasure, so it has. And as for you, my dear fella, I couldn't have asked for a better defense. You will get you, mark my words. I just can't help wondering if Miss McGilded really was innocent. Who cares? Moving on. Mr. Naruhodo. That's loser talk. It's just that I never managed to ascertain the truth. And then the trial ended. You're wasting my time, boy. Well, you needn't let it trouble you for a second longer. Sorry? What do you mean, Lord Strongheart? Magnus McGilded passed away immediately following the trial. Oh gosh. Was he the guy in the carriage? I thought he was either the guy in the carriage or he set the fire. No! What? Mr. McGilded is... dead? Right on cue. Fly, birds, fly! I have 19 minutes and 41 seconds until my next engagement. Time enough to talk. Oh yeah, so, I'm gonna examine this place, I guess, but one thing that I forgot to mention is I like telling you what the little trophy objective is for this case. I forgot to look before I started this though, so let me see if I remember. It was something about examining, I think, a violin or a piano or something, some kind of instrument, before clicking on, I think it was the Wilson conversation topic or something like that. I don't know. I don't feel like opening it right now. It was an easy one. At least it seemed easy to do. Okay. So yeah, I guess let's examine the area first. This must be the Lord Chief Justice's desk. I believe it's made of marble. I don't know if this is going to be new dialogue or the same as before. Looks more like an over-the-top tombstone that's toppled over to me. This sounds familiar. I think that's your fanciful imagination at work again, Mr. Naruhodo. It's clearly a desk. It feels like everything that's normally made of wood and paper at home. Yeah, this is familiar. I'm just gonna read it if it seems like new dialogue. Yep, I definitely remember this. Tom Holland, I made that joke. There we go. I don't think there's anything else to examine though, even if I do this. Okay. What I will do though, so there's nothing to examine, but what I will do is try this again. What's wrong with it? May I show you this? Have you seen this before? To accept this item, issue a receipt, examine it thoroughly, and make a formal statement of my findings. Would require something in the region of 24 seconds of my time. Sorry? Does the item warrant 24 seconds of my time, Mr. Naruhodo? Let's leave it for now. Okay. I thought that would happen. Okay. I guess we can just go ahead and converse. Yes, let's start with... Actually, let's talk about the British court. So, how did you find your first taste of our country's Supreme Court? Oh, well, I don't know. I mean, it was... Wow. Mr. Naruhodo means that the whole experience was steeped in the solemnity of Great Britain's long history. It's really a world apart from our own judicial system in Japan, which is only a few short decades old. Wow, Susato-san has such a way with words. That she does. And you seem to have a way of failing to find the right ones. Yeah. Ain't that the truth? The judicial system here is the most advanced in the world. Learn all you can. Noted. The most advanced in the world, is it? It was fortunate that your very first trial was a simple affair. Simple? That was simple? You jest. As I believe I mentioned yesterday morning, it was a trial you couldn't lose. And sure enough, we didn't. I don't mean to be contrary, Lord Strongheart, but the case was anything but simple. Now that's interesting, that's intriguing. Why couldn't we lose it? Did he rig it in some way that it couldn't be lost? By he, I mean this guy right here, Strongheart. Like, why was he so sure that it couldn't be lost? Or did he just have enough faith in the defendant? Maybe he knows the defendant's guilty, but he knew we could get him off the hook. I don't know. The circumstances of the case were so incriminating. I was stunned when I first heard them. In fact, I'm still finding it hard to believe that we managed to get a favorable verdict. I'm not evil, I swear. Is something funny? No, my apologies. However, the fact is that you did receive the not guilty verdict you set out to achieve. That be correct, and that can only be attributed to exceptional talent. Wouldn't you agree? Well, I don't know about that, per se. Well, never mind. You exceeded my expectations, I freely admit. That much, at least, is an undeniable truth. Which is precisely why I have prepared the new case for you that I mentioned before. What's going on? What was he going to say before? I feel like he's definitely hiding some stuff from us. Let's go back to McGilded's death. I don't understand. What happened? How can he be dead? It's been like a day. After the trial concluded yesterday, there was a great commotion in the Old Bailey. As you'll presumably recall, an omnibus had been wheeled into the courtroom. I remember. Yes, of course. That was the scene of the crime which Mr. McGild had been accused of. Precisely. Well, while the bailiff's attention was diverted by some other matter, the omnibus went up in flames. There was a cool, animated cutscene that you weren't there for. No. How could such a thing have happened? That is being investigated as we speak, but already... The police have identified a corpse found inside the charred shell of the carriage as that of McGilded. Oh, the irony. That's awful. That van must have slipped inside whilst the bailiff's attention was elsewhere. That bailiff really needs to pay more attention. Yeah, really. And how could that have happened? Like, what the deuce? That is also being investigated as we speak. I really want to know more. Thinking back now, immediately after the trial, Miss McGill did mention going back into the courtroom to look at the omnibus. Exactly. Oh, this is so fascinating. Well, I must be making tracks now. 'Tis time for the inspection. Sorry? What inspection? They're going to examine the omnibus again, so I'm told. I asked if I could be present for it myself. And you were. Hope you're happy. An inspection of the omnibus? So you didn't know about that? Not to my knowledge. I don't believe Scotland Yard had any intention of re-examining the carriage. But then who is Mr. McGilded talking about? Huh, interesting. So he just straight up lying? Or did somebody give him did someone override that and say, nah, we're gonna do it anyway? Never mind that now. The Yard is making a thorough investigation. This matter is no longer any concern of yours. Leave it to the police. Duly noted. Poor Mr. McGilded. Yeah, I'm torn up about it. Because, I mean, it would be interesting if, like, he really was innocent. Like, again, it seems very likely that he wasn't. But, I mean, again, we did our job and we defended him. He seemed guilty of it. We had that feeling, which that usually in these games means, like, I just have this nagging feeling that he's involved. But who knows? Maybe we find out that there was more to it. And maybe we revisit it and find out there's more to it. And that maybe he really was guilty. Or, sorry, innocent. Maybe that's why he was killed? I don't know. Could you perhaps give us some more details about the new case you mentioned? Yes, please. Don't tell me. It's a murder and the trial starts in 10 minutes? That would be just my luck. It would have been interesting if we, like, now we have to investigate McGilded's murder and find out what happened, but I don't think that's the direction they're going. Don't worry. It's nothing so alarming or quite so urgent as your last assignment. In fact, this case is completely different. Oh, I see. Did you just read my mind? That is to say, no one has died as yet. Oh gosh, okay. And the trial will not be today. There is plenty of time to research the case thoroughly. Yay, a proper investigation. 23 hours, 43 minutes, and 19 seconds to be precise. So the trial's tomorrow then. So you have plenty of time. Is everything alright? Oh, yes. I'm just a little confused, that's all. Yesterday's trial was... well, it's left me wondering if I'm really cut out for being a lawyer. Oh, Mr. Naruhodo. I don't know if I could face standing in that courtroom again after Mr. McGilded's trial. You must. Just remember you succeeded. You did it once, you can do it again. Oh yes, I nearly forgot. There is one similarity with yesterday's case. Uh-oh, what is it? Once again, there's currently no one to advocate for the defense. Oh, then I'm your guy. If the situation remains unchanged, the trial will start tomorrow with the defendant unrepresented. And if that happens, I need not remind you of the inevitable outcome. The most terrible end awaits the defendant. Did I get that right? Good girl. Yes, that's right. Here we go again. Take two. So is that everything? Everything we need to know? Your time is up. You will have to excuse me. I have some karaoke to attend. I would advise you to begin making preparations for tomorrow's trial. After all, the clock is ever ticking. Tick-tock. There's now but 23 hours, 26 minutes, and 39 seconds until the court sits. But no pressure. Last time he mentioned the 23 hours, he said there was plenty of time. I was kidding. Calm down. And one more thing, Mr. Naruhodo. There is something I should like to ask you. Oh, what's that? Yesterday you remarked upon something. I don't remember. That you intend to see through the will of your late compatriot, Mr. Asogi. Ah. That is correct. What of it? I would be interested to hear what exactly you mean by that. We will carry on his legacy. Inside 34 seconds. Go, now! Oh, well, Cosmo always used to say, you see, that he wanted to learn how the greatest justice system in the world works so he could change ours in Japan. Now that he's gone, I'd like to work towards that myself. And there's another thing. Oh! Another thing? Continue? But be quick about it. On the way here, on the steamship, he said something to me. There's something very important that I have to do. Something very important? And what exactly would that be? He never had a chance to tell me. I suppose he would have done if he'd ever made it to Great Britain. You're out of time! Well, thank you for an enlightening discussion. If the text boxes went faster, you might have gotten more in, but... oh well. Mr. Naruhodo, what's all this about? I guess... oh, that's right, she didn't know about this, did she? Mr. Asogi never once mentioned anything of the sort to me. I urge you both to focus your attention on the matter at hand. I've taken the liberty of summoning the police inspector in charge of the case. He'll be able to apprise you of the details. How long has he been there? He was inside the suit of armor. So I wish you the best of luck and bid you farewell. There's something very important that I have to do. Kazuma-sama, what did you mean? Yeah, so he had some larger mission or something that obviously he didn't tell me about before he bit the dust, so I'm sure that'll come up and we'll figure out what that is. I wish I knew, but honestly, he never told me. Anyway, we had better talk to the detective, don't you think? Yes, you're right. Let's do this! I hope I'm just imagining it, but I wouldn't say he looks pleased to see us at all, like at all. What are those, French fries? Or, I'm sorry, fish and chips? Or chips? I don't know what's in his hand. Okay. So yeah, there's nothing else to examine, everything's examined. Let's talk to you, good sir. Yeah, looks like he's eating chips. Could we trouble you? What do you think? Lovely weather, isn't it? What's the weather got to do with anything? Listen to me, you young Japanese upstart. Some frippery about the weather doesn't get every English gent eaten out of their hand, you know? Susan told me it was foolproof. Ha, she thought wrong. I'm a busy man. A very, very busy man. Oh my gosh. What? Calm down. Is that a never-ending basket? You betcha. There's a crime scene to investigate, but I'm here to give the likes of you a talking to. Oh. I'm ever so sorry. I thought that was your job, but okay. Can you imagine what the other officers there will be saying, Haven't seen Gregson anywhere, have you? No, he's too busy with the bigwigs these days. And all because of some bumpkin who's here on a jaunt from a country I've never heard of. I've never heard of a Japan. Hear that ripping sound? That's my reputation at the yard going to tatters. There's no need to rip us apart as well. Jeez. I don't believe we've been introduced. This is Mr. Ryunosuke and Susato, a defense lawyer. Eh? It's a pleasure to make your acquaintance. I'm Mr. Naruhodo's judicial assistant, Sue. Eh? It's lovely weather we're having today, isn't it? What's going on here? What's this awkward exchange? You have the hots for her or something? It is unseasonably fine, I grant you. London winters don't see a lot of sunshine. Unbelievable. How'd she pull that off? So, Lord Strongheart has asked me to fill you in on the case. The name's Tobias Gregson. Inspector Gregson to you. I'm from Scotland Yard. Gregson? Inspector Gregson? I wonder if Hosonaga will show up again. What's the matter with Susato-san? Is he famous or something? Does the detective's name mean something to her? Okay, let's talk about Inspector Gregson himself first. Inspector, are you perhaps the Inspector Gregson? You betcha. 5-time winner of the fast food eating contest. You're acting like you know. Oh, you're acting like you know this man, Miss Susato, but he's a London detective. Oh, I do know him. Very well, in fact. Very well? Yes, he features prominently in the adventures of oh gosh. The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes. Is every detective in this book? Oh, in that publication. What's it called again? Advanced Magazine? That's right. Inspector Gregson and Mr. Sholmes enjoy a wonderful friendly rivalry. Oh, is he supposed to be, I'm trying to remember. I'm blanking on his name. I know that, I know in like the actual Sherlock Holmes, he does have kind of a rival. And I'm blanking out on his actual name. Oh, wait a minute. Did I read that? Sorry. Really? You rival the great Mr. Sholmes? That's incredible. I mean, he was kind of a blundering idiot, but... Oh, well, I don't know about that. Mr. Sholmes isn't a professional like myself, of course, but he does come up with the goods from time to time. Mr. Sholmes is equally complimentary about you, Inspector, isn't he? You've earned his highest praise. Gregson is the pack of a bad lot of all the Scotland Yarders. Those were his own words. That's his highest praise? Doesn't sound like it. Well, Mr. Sholmes isn't particularly known for giving compliments, you see. That he is not. And thanks to that magazine, my name's known all over London town now. That's great, isn't it? Humph. I have to admit that to start with I was a little, well, flattered by all the attention. Everyone wanted to shake my hand, and my reputation at the yard went through the roof. Well, it's wonderful. No, it is not. There's nothing more sinister than the man on the street. People are always looking at me now. They're whispering rumors about me under their breath, I'm sure. Rumors? Are you quite sure? He's changed since he started appearing in those stories. The fame's gone to his head, stuff like that. Gosh, do you really think people are saying such mean-spirited things about you? Wouldn't surprise me. They're jealous. Like I said, they whisper, so I can't catch exactly what they're saying, but I know what folk are like. I'm sure that's what they're saying. As sure as eggs is eggs, man. I get the feeling that detective could be very hard work. Oh dear, perhaps a sudden rise to fame does change people. Someday I will be a famous lawyer. A lawyer to rule all lawyers. Are you okay, Ryunosuke? Shut up. Okay, the case. So, about the case that the Lord Chief Justice mentioned before. What is it? Nothing to tell, really. As far as we're concerned at the yard, it couldn't be simpler. Oh dear. That probably means that as far as we're concerned as lawyers, it couldn't be more complicated. What else is new? All these cases are needlessly complicated. I wish you were wrong about that, but I have a nasty feeling you're right. A young woman was walking along the pavement on Briar Road when she was stabbed from behind. Fortunately, it wasn't fatal, but she's still laid up in the hospital unconscious. Oh, that's right, they said she wasn't dead. Interesting, so it's an attempted murder. That's despicable. What sort of coward would attack the poor woman from behind? I suppose you would have finished whoever was off with the Susato takedown, would you? You betcha! You bet your biscuits! That is neither here nor there, Mr. Naruhodo. But yes, I would. Brace yourself, Ryunosuke. You've angered her now. Anyway, after something of a whirlwind investigation, the criminal was arrested. He barely had time for a cup of tea after the incident took place, to be honest. So, there must have been something left of the scene that led you directly to the culprit. Or perhaps a reliable witness who recognized the person in question. Let me stop you right there. You're wasting your time on this one. Sorry? There's nothing you can do. There's no way to help the bloke now. Why ever not? Simple. The prosecutor that's been assigned to the trial tomorrow is Lord Barak von Zykes. Oh. Surprise, surprise, it's him again. He's the only prosecutor in this game. No. Sounds like you've heard of him then. Oh yes, we are very familiar with Lord Van Zykes. Believed to be the harbinger of death himself. The Grim Reaper. The Reaper of the Bailey. That's our guy. Oh, let's talk more about him. Lord Barak von Zykes, who we faced in court only yesterday. Mr. McGilda told us about him before the trial, didn't he? When Van Zykes stands for the prosecution, they call the accused his sacrificial lamb. I think this is, what's his face talking? McGilda. When Van Zykes stands for the prosecution, they call him the accused his sacrificial lambs. What a badass! And in every single trial in which he's been the prosecutor, the accused has been damned. I think that was McGilda talking. I think that was a flashback to when he was telling us. This Reaper the Bailey nickname. I suppose he's earned that because every defendant he advocates against is found guilty. Is that it? Until yesterday. High five. Well, if that's the case, we should inform you, Inspector, that in yesterday's trial against Lord Van Zykes, Mr. Naruhodo secured a verdict of not guilty. And what of it? Oh, well, I think that should account for something. That means that even against the Reaper of the Bailey, it's not impossible to save the defendant. No, you really don't have a clue, do you? What do you mean? That's what I want to know. Let me just shove this in my pocket. What happened to that bloke in the end, eh? He's dead. Yes, we're aware. Ah. Magnus McGilda came a copper in that omnibus when he went up in flames. Or crapper. So you can't rightly say you saved the defendant, can you? What? What are you saying? Hey, we did our job. And that happened after the trial, so not our fault. Look, if Van Zykes got the dirt to stick on everyone, he'd be a miracle worker. But that's not how it goes. He doesn't work miracles, he works magic. Black magic. Is he implying he thinks maybe Van Zykes did it because he lost? I'd have a good long think about that if I were you. Are we really supposed to believe that? I don't. Not for a second. Again, it's hard to get a read on him. Again, another intimidating presence, but you know, some prosecutors have been like evil or bad, and others have been decent guys. So I don't know how I feel about him yet. If he's a bad guy or maybe misunderstood. Okay, that's it. Right, well, I filled you in as requested, and I'm very nearly out of chips. You mean fries? No, chips. So I'll be heading back to the crime scene now. We're still carrying out a few investigations there. It was Briar Road, you said, didn't you? Where the incident took place? That's correct, ma'am. And if you head over to the holding cells, you can meet the criminal himself. You branded him a criminal already? He's as good as shaking like a leaf in his cell, he is. It'll give you a chuckle if nothing else. He's an 853. Inmate 53. Speak to the jailer and he'll show you the way. Inmate 53. Thank you. Mr. What's his name? Gregson? Interesting character. Likes his fast food. I can relate. So there's no helping anyone against the Reaper of the Barely, they say. Is something troubling you, Mr. Naruhodo? That's nonsense. To tell the truth, when I recall the trial yesterday, I can't stop myself from shaking. The idea of facing the Reaper in court again is frightening my balls off. Well, if you think it's too much for you. There's no shame in turning the case down. That takes courage, too. No, we're gonna do it. We're gonna get another not guilty verdict. But if the man they've arrested is innocent, you could well imagine he would be shaking like a leaf in a cell. And I, for one, wouldn't find the sight of that funny. So, if I'm honest, I'm still reeling from the shock of yesterday's events myself. And we had literally no time to recover. And I'm really not sure if I'll be able to help this man, whoever he is. But we should at least try. But I'd like to try, so I think I'm going to make some inquiries. Will you help me? Nah, I'm good. Did you really think you had to ask? After all, I am your judicial assistant. Thank you. So then, shall we? Yes. Let's go! Hurrah! Yeah. Ah, so exciting. Okay, all this is investigated. Good. Now, where to go first? Okay, I say let's go visit our defendant first before investigating the crime scene. I'd like to get a sense of who we're defending. These prison cells where suspects are held whilst they await trial. Visiting is permitted at certain times. Hopefully now is one of those times. Ooh, that's a dank dungeon if I ever saw one. 19th of February, local prison, cell 9. So, these are British prison cells. Try me. Oh, they're ghastly. It feels just like a dungeon. That's exactly my thoughts. Yes, and having experienced it in Japan myself, I can assure you that our wooden cells feel a lot cozier than these cold stone walls. Oh, don't, Mr. Naruhodo, you're making it seem worse. Apparently our client is in this cell here. It seems empty to me, but whatevs. But it's so dark at the back there, I can't make him out. I wonder what he's like. Inmate 53, your legal representative is here to see you. Stop hiding in the back of the cell and show your face at once. Am I a cat, as yet with no name? Calling me by a number. It's utterly unbelievably, unjustly, unreasonable. I refuse to answer. I wanna know what he looks like. Mr. Naruhodo, what was that? What do you think is going on here? I have no idea, but I wasn't just hearing things, was I? That tirade of complaints was in Japanese. Oh, it's a Japanese guy. Unless he just understands Japanese. Oh, what the? That's an interesting look. His eyebrows look drawn on. You don't have a name yet. Excuse me, but who? Shh! Quiet! Okay, he looks a bit paranoid, a little jumpy. I mean, I don't blame him. They're all around, hiding. I know they are. They're watching, listening. Even now, I can sense it. Hello there. Right, so, could I ask you who exactly... There you are. You've come to curse me, haven't you? Don't try to hide it. You're a ghost. A ghost? Talking to us? Okay, he's a bit paranoid, isn't he? What the balls? We mean you no harm, prisoner-san. Prisoner-san. Are you... Japanese by any chance? This is beyond my wildest dreams. Forgive me for that outfit before. I'm so sorry. Oh, it's fine. We were just a little surprised, that's all. Imagine it! I've done 12 long months since I left my hometown, and here I am, in a frightful fix in a foreign land. So hearing the sweet, sentimental tones of a compatriot's voice here in this damp, dark hellhole was a most monumental, moving moment. Oh gosh, this guy's a character, isn't he? Who could have guessed that this new client Lord Strongheart assigned to us would turn out to be a fellow Japanese? Ah, what compassion my fellow countrymen show. To dispatch a first-class lawyer all the way from Japan to defend a mere foreign student. Noble, nurturing, never-failing Nippon. Okay, that's what what's-his-face was calling us, the Zykes, the Nipponese. Is that another word for just Japanese? I'm just not familiar with it. I like this guy. Like, I like his mannerisms. A first-class... Oh, that's us. A first-class lawyer? Oh dear, I think there's been something of a misunderstanding here. We're brand new at this, buddy. I wonder, would you be so kind as to tell us what's happened? Why you've been detained as a suspect, for example. Yes, I can. I will. Shan't stay sullen and silent. Calm down, buddy. I'm not quite sure I understand what he means, but he seems happy. Does he? I mean, I guess he does. Yeah, he's happy that we're Japanese. Yes, he does. I just hope he actually has a good reason to be. Thank you for your cooperation. I am a lawyer, as you said. My name is Ryunosuke and And I am Naruhodo-san's judicial assistant, Susato Mikotoba. I am a visiting student sent here by our government. Notoriously named Natsume! Suzuki Natsume! How old is he? He looks like middle-aged. I mean, he could be a student, you know, there are like, you know, adult students, but... Anyway. First off, how about you take a look at my armband, hey? Yes! The symbol of one of our great empire's first-rate lawyers! Which means, of course, you'll stand by my side, you'll defend me! Oh, no, sorry, that wasn't why I was showing it to you. I mean, aren't we? I just wanted your silly fluff dialogue. Then why else would you show me that? Oops. In hindsight, that probably wasn't the best idea. Hold that pose. That might be my new thumbnail. I don't know. I have a feeling he'll definitely be in my thumbnail. He's very expressive. I like that. Okay, so let's talk about you, Suzuki Natsume. Suzuki Natsume-san. What an unusual name. Call me Suzuki, please. I'm a poet, you see. A writer of haiku. It's something of a nom de plume. A nom de plume? You mean an alias? That's right, Naruhodo-san. Good boy. No, don't be so prosaic. It's much more refined than that. And haiku, that really reminds me of home. Did I hear you say that you were a visiting student sent over here by the government? Yes, that's right. A year ago, I was told to go and study English. First, I had to suffer that misery, and now this! It's beyond the pale. Suffer that misery? Did you not want to study here? No, I mean, I've had an interest in Great Britain for some years, of course. Oh. But just because the government helped you do something doesn't mean you can do it. No! What do you mean? If they told me to study English literature, that I could have understood. That's my field. But no, They told me to study the English language. Utterly, unbelievably, unjustly unreasonable. I see. Only the other day I was told to send a report about my first year here. I tendered a blank piece of paper. Wise words on whitewashy. Are you on crack, sir? You must be a man of great standing. Oh yes, so I'm often told. And often like to be told. And often like to be told, it seems. Okay, well, enough about you. Let's talk about why you're accused. Could you perhaps tell us exactly why you've been arrested, Suzuki-san? I didn't do it. I didn't commit that atrocious murder. Murder? Oh, no. No, it's all right. The woman didn't actually die, did she? But she was stabbed with a knife right before my eyes. Before your eyes? You mean you saw the attacker? I'm guessing he didn't. Otherwise this would be too easy. I didn't see anyone. What? Then how do you see it? If I'd seen the person who did it, do you think I'd be locked up in here? Oh dear. It seems this gate's becoming rather complicated. And it's only just begun. Why me? Why me? Why did that silly woman have to be stabbed in front of me? It's the curse. The curse of London. It's incredibly, inexcusably, irritatingly inconvenient. So Suzuki-san was there at the scene, but he didn't see the attacker. It's vital that we found out more about the case. Okay. About the case. It was an accursed evening just after the snow had started to clear and heavy with fog. I'd been to the bookshop to buy some books and I was on my way back to my accursed lodgings. Sure, the bookshop wasn't accursed too. As I was walking along that accursed pavement, I could make out the sole silhouette of another ahead of me. A woman, wearing a green overcoat she was, and just as I went to overtake her, stabby stabby. Oh, it's a big lady. She suddenly let out a scream and collapsed onto the cold hard slabs of stone at my feet. How terrible! Oh gosh, look at him. Poor guy. How terrible. I called out to the woman, but she didn't move. It was like a ghastly, ghoulish, grim graveyard. Slight exaggeration there, perhaps? Everything about this guy is slightly exaggerated. I was terrified. I had to get away from there. So I ran, as fast as my legs would carry me back to my accursed lodgings. That's not good. They'll say it was shameful, I know, to run away like that. Tell me, Suzuki-san, was the victim an acquaintance of yours? Don't be ridiculous! Do you think I know any of these fair-haired English? And a young woman at that? I'm different, shy, timid, unsure. I can't talk to people! I'm not loud! Okay, calm down, into a voice. I see. A young woman unknown to Suzuki-san. And at the time it happened, who else did you see nearby? Did anybody pass you? Regrettably, apart from myself and the woman, I didn't see a soul. No one? Oh, great. Just our luck. So the victim was unknown to you, and there was nobody else on the street at the time. That creates something of a conundrum, doesn't it? What conundrum? Okay, gonna keep going. There's nobody to witness this crime. We only have his word. What do you mean, Susato-san? What's the conundrum? Well, if what Suzuki-san had just told us is true, there's something I can't explain. He says that he didn't know the victim, and that there was no one else at the scene. Then he apparently fled without having been seen. I did! So I guess how would he even be what do you call it? A culprit in the first place if nobody witnessed it? Why is he... Yeah, that would actually make sense. Like, why would he be picked up as the accused if there was nobody to witness it and he had no connection to the victim? But if that's the case, surely this man has to be the culprit. You! What did you just say? Nothing. I didn't say anything. Don't hurt me. Well, you can't. You're in jail. Oops. Perhaps I thought that a little loudly. Yeah. Actually, that's not what was troubling me. Oh, do tell. What I was thinking was, how did Suzuki-san actually come to be arrested? Yeah, exactly. That's what I just said. Sorry? He didn't touch the victim, and there was nobody at the scene to see him. So how did the police ever discover that he was there in the first place? Oh yes, she's right. It's a conspiracy. It was him. That accursed great detective. He led the police to me. Of all the bad luck. Are we talking about Sholmes or Gregson, whatever his name was? Accursed great detective. Could it be... I shall never forget that man's name as long as I live. With his hearty laugh and his self-proclaimed greatness. Brash, big-headed, busybody, be gone! Yep, that's our guy. May you be cursed until the end of your days, Hairlock Sholmes! I knew it. Mr. Sholmes. Okay, let's talk more about Hairlock, shall we? Well, I didn't expect to hear that name from this man's lips, that's for sure. It was the morning after that nightmare had unfolded on the pavement before me. I was gnawing on a sliver of hard cheese when some men suddenly burst in through the door. They started shouting at me. This is the police. Put the weapon down. Yes, it was a thin sliver, and yes, it was hard, but I wasn't eating a weapon. Disgusting dietary discrimination devils. You clearly had a trying morning yesterday. And there he was, in the middle of all the policemen, grinning like a Cheshire cat. That Hairlock Sholmes! It's actually just Hairlock Sholmes. He's English. I've since found out that he's a famous name in detection here in London. Yes, the great detective is really very well known. And his overly sharp mind managed to deduce my whereabouts, apparently. He thinks I'm the knife-wielding madman? Me, this weak, stooped kitten of a man? I wonder what great deduction process led him to his conclusion this time. Do you mean to say that Mr. Sholmes' deduction was the only reason the police arrested you? That would really be most unreasonable. Especially since most of his deductions are full of crap. Well, the thing is, I was thrown into a panic when they barged the way in. Oh, you made a scene? Of course you were. That's only natural. I was terrified and trembling, and they kept throwing question after question at me in impossible English. Fiendish, foreign, firm flammery. What do you say, flim-flammery? I don't know what he said. Well, we are in England. You can't really blame them for questioning you in English. Good point, good point. But my mind went blank. I knew how to... Wait, I knew I had to answer, but I didn't know what to say. So I just kept repeating things like, yes I do, and I'm fine. The next thing I knew, I was in manacles. And before I knew it, I was thrown in here. Oh dear, I'm afraid that's hardly surprising. I'm fine? He's not fine now. Anything but fine. Okay, are we finally done with the questioning? Ooh, Esquire. Mr. Naruhodo Esquire? Oh, you can just call me Naruhodo. And when we're speaking English, a simple Mr. is more than enough. Oh, yes, alright, yes, they've really got to me. This country is poisoning my mind. But please, I beg you to defend me in court tomorrow. You can tell them what really happened. You'll do it, won't you? Well, Why? Why? Why is it so hard to say yes to me? Well, the thing is, I'm just a student like yourself, on a study tour. A student? I've defended a case in the Old Bailey. Only the one, though. But at this moment in time, I really don't know what I'm supposed to believe in. I'm confused about what justice in this country even means. I'm having a crisis. Oh, Naruhodo-san. Just do your job. We have work to do. I'm not even the foreign student who was supposed to be here. I'm a sort of locum lawyer, I suppose. But that armband, that's the mark of a defense lawyer from our great empire. It's a keepsake from the man who should have been here. He was my best friend. A keepsake? What the hell? I know exactly what they're saying about me. Oh? What do you mean? The lawyers, all the British defense lawyers, they won't defend me. Goodness, why do you say that? For the same reason as you noted before. When it happened, there was only the victim and myself around, and I ran away from the scene of the crime. I'm not a fool. I know it looks as though I must be the culprit. It must be very hard for you, Suzuki-san. And anyway, I'm a student from overseas. I'm just a foreign nobody to them. Someone not to be trusted. I heard them openly laughing about me before, in my earshot without any compunction at all. Hey, are they being racist a-holes? Any trial for this man would be a waste of time, they said, and of course the foreigner did it. They even had the gall to say, the man doesn't understand half of what's being said anyway. That's awful. They're wrong. I've studied more English than half of the policemen out there on the streets. I've traveled halfway around the world to learn about these people's country and its great history. But no one here wants to listen to a man with a strange accent. They all hate me. So, at the very least, I'd like to entrust my fate to someone who can listen to me in my native tongue. And that would be us. You could do it. Couldn't you? When I look into your eyes, I can see it. I can see what you've been through. Suzuki-san, it's just that we're soul brothers. Help a brother out. Give me a little time, please. Huh? I'll do what I can for the time being. What do you mean? We shall investigate the case as thoroughly as possible. If we can find some clues, it will give us a much better chance, I'm sure. Oh yes, thank you. I'll be here, all alone, waiting for you, locum student Mr. Naruhodo Esquire. We should be going then, Naruhodo-san. We have a case to prepare for. Okay, off to Briar Road. We still haven't been here yet. I wonder what awaits us. Let's do it. "19th February, Briar Road." Ooh, nice, pretty. I like the environment. Do you want to build a snowman? Oh, my voice is cracked. That's what happened when you do voice for so long. So this is where it happened. Briar Road. Ah! Look, Mr. Naruhodo! Look at that regulation metal helmet. It's unmistakable. The men of Scotland Yard are here. They're investigating as we speak. Ah, the infamous Scotland Yard. That is their job, you know. But Mr. Naruhodo, to see one with my own eyes. They're often depicted in the adventures of Sherlock Holmes, but I never dreamt I'd ever come this close. To a real Bobby's helmet. My name's Jim. I know what she meant, but she's fangirling over anything and everything that has to do with this book. There was also a snowman in the book too, and look, there's a real snowman. Oh my gosh! What? The helmet? Hee hee. Of course. I have to try on one day. Gimme. Well, I hope your Hattie dream comes true. Ah, there's our guy. Detective. What's the Japanese delegation doing here? Oh, Inspector Gregson. This isn't on the tourist trail, as I'm fairly sure you're well aware. Yes, of course. We're here to investigate. So you've been to the holding cells then? What do you make of the criminal? He's not a criminal, as you put it, Inspector. He's a suspect. Get it right. Humph. We'll see about that. You Japanese like to stick together, I suppose? Hey, being racist, are we? Well, do what you will. It doesn't bother me. The bloke's in court tomorrow, whatever happens. And the verdict's a foregone conclusion. Ugh. The stone-cold air of rejection. Take heart. London at this time of year is full of stone-cold air. That makes it worse somehow. Alright guys, well you know what? We are at a new destination. We talked to the defendant. And we're about to examine the crime scene, which I think might take a while. So, you know what? Now seems like a good time to stop here. And we will continue. We'll pick up in the next episode. Man, I like it so far. I gotta say, the defendant himself is kind of wacky and wild, and I like it. He's fun to voice, too. I'll have to see how it comes out. Make sure it's consistent. But, yeah, I really like him, and yeah, it's interesting having a Japanese person here that we're defending. In jolly old England, jolly old London. So yeah, I like him. This guy is interesting. He has besides his fast food habit. Yeah, but he's also kind of quirky in his own way. And we'll have to see if he's a better detective than Sholmes. I wonder if he'll be our detective, like, for this investigation, for this case rather, or whether we'll see Sholmes again. I have a feeling we will, since he's the reason our defendant is, you know, in jail. He'll probably come about, and we'll probably have to play that minigame again, you know, alter his deductions and come to the true conclusion. But yeah, so far so good. Again, I already like how, you know, how much more open this is probably gonna feel. Hopefully maybe there are even some other locations that open up. But yeah, I'm enjoying this, and I cannot wait to continue and see what's up with this case. So, thank you guys so much for watching. Go ahead and do all the things. Like the video and subscribe, as it really helps the channel out. Hit that notification bell so you know when more videos go up. And I said that already. Share the video. That's what I was trying to say. And of course, comment down below. Let me know what you think so far. And I would love to chat with you guys and get your thoughts on what's going on. So, that's all I have for today. So take care and goodbye.